Hey guys, Gary Rogers, Noggin Doctor. I'm sitting on my porch. I know the lighting on my face is terrible for, you know, the aesthetics of it, but it is nice and sunny and I'm going to enjoy that. In Virginia, this is a pretty rare day, so we're going to get on the porch here, which I am, and talk about some of the fallacies of plagiocephaly and torticollis. So I'm going to go through 15 in a series, one at a time, fallacies about torticollis or plagiocephaly that you should know. Let's start with the first one, which I think is one of the most egregious, is that it happens because the infant cranium is somehow soft. So I've seen various esteemed scholars put this in their summaries about why it happens. The infant skull is soft. It's out there in the literature. It's also I've heard people hypothesize that somehow the infants that are affected, this is how their skulls are different. So if you thought about the infant head being soft as being the principal reason, of course all babies' heads would be soft. And if you laid any child down, that means we would see almost virtually any child laying on their back, or front for that matter, develop head flattening. We don't. We see about 30%. So 70% of kids who lay on their back don't get flat. Their heads are perfectly fine. And 30% get flat. So you could argue maybe something's different about that 30%. Well, there is something different, but it's not about the mineralization of their cranium. The other thing that goes against this is if you lay a newborn, on a flat surface, like on a bed or a countertop, wherever you're doing that, if the soft skull hypothesis is correct, their head would deform in real time. You'd be watching their head change in shape. And of course, when you lift them back up again, because the brain is exerting internal pressure, that flattening would correct. So it wouldn't just like a balloon on a counter. You lay the balloon on the counter, it deforms. You pick the balloon back up, it goes back to its natural position. So the theory doesn't hold water at any level. I have good MRI and CT exams of newborns taken in the hospital for various reasons that show their heads on flat surfaces where they're getting the scan, and there's absolutely zero deformation of the cranium from laying on the bed. Now, what we do know is that they do get flat over time. So this idea of, if you think about the soft skull hypothesis, it means that the head is soft, it deforms in real time. If you think about flattening with growth, what that means is as the child grows and the head is growing against a fixed object, that being the bed, and there's always some other component to this, why they hold a position. We'll talk about that in a minute, torticollis. But long story short is if they're laying in one position for a period of time, as their head is growing rapidly, their head can't grow through the obstruction, the bed or the car seat or the bouncer or whatever they're sitting in. It will start to grow around it. And this is why studies show that it takes about 6 to 8 weeks on average for parents to notice head flattening, because it develops over time. So people will say, well, my baby had it when they were born. We'll talk about that one. That's another great myth, and we'll talk about that in one of the other 14 sections. But suffice it to say that also is not true. This is something that develops over time, and typically because the head is held in one position. We'll talk about why that might be. But the long story short is the soft skull hypothesis is bogus. Trust me on this, that this is not something that's accurate, and if somebody speaks to you about that, it shows that they really don't have a true understanding of this problem. Till next time, we'll talk again.